Just don't know.
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, there we go, dude. Viva Las Vegas. What's going on, Kings fans? This is Zach from the Viva Los Angeles Hockey Club podcast.
Robert here.
This is Wally.
Just want to give a big shout out and love to the other contributor, Dave. Him and his family are definitely going through it right now. So definitely want to send out our love to them. Want to send
Dave's here in spirit.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
We're going to do a good show for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also want to give some love to the Humboldt Broncos.
Yeah. Tragic.
It is.
Yeah, it's tough to even swallow that one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's somebody like my little brother. He plays travel hockey, and it's just
one of our local teams here, Tier 2 Junior Long Beach Bombers, are heading out on a 14-hour bus ride for their playoff game, and it's like Alex Faust, he really said it very poignantly. Every player's done that.
Yeah,
it's just tough.
Yeah, it is. So if you haven't,
sticks out.
Put your sticks out. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
There you go.
But on a much happier note, the Los Angeles Kings did clinch playoffs. They are in. Yay!
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
you have to think.
I said that they wouldn't, so that's another thing that I got wrong on. But hey, at least down the stretch, we played the right defensive personnel, and
we did,
and it it showed, and hopefully it'll continue. I mean, look at these. You look at the lines for practices, and just once Muzzin's healthy, and you would assume he would take Fantenberg's spot up there with Doughty. So you got Muzzin and Doughty. You got Martinez, Fantenberg, and Ledoux, Phaneuf. That's a great six. And then even the forwards, Iafallo back. That's key.
It is.
I mean, you could just see we were kind of struck. Go ahead.
Martinez Folan.
Yeah,
said Fantenberg.
Yeah, instead of Fantenberg.
Martinez Folan.
You said Fantenberg.
Oh,
I want to make sure no one thinks you're advocating a double lefty there.
Oh yeah, dude, 4-2.
Well, no, the double Swede. The Fantenberg Folan. That would be no. Just kidding.
I mean, if you think about it, even if Forbert comes back, normally, if you have,
he's not coming back this year.
You don't think so?
Fingers crossed.
No.
Don't know if I can say that.
No, that's not a fingers crossed. It's just he's still on crutches. He's not. It was significant.
I think he's out of this series, regardless. It
looked like it was his knee, right? It was his knee or his ankle.
Quote, lower body.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to give up too much. But, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the season, did I think the Kings were going to make the playoffs, with the current roster and whatnot, I would have been, maybe, it'd be nice to get into the playoffs this season.
Well, what did we say? The Keys were if the main contributors had bounced back years... And they did.
I felt like we'd squeak in, and that's what we did. But now we have.
Robert did say that. He said the Kings would get in, but he also
Sharks
said
would
the
be
Sharks
out.
would not. So,
but now we got to prove that
predictions thread, man. That was a good thread.
Yeah, bringing that one back. I like that.
Yeah, especially going back and looking at it. That was good.
Oh, I had to. I had to dig up old shit, right, Kevin? Cough. Vegas being a bad idea. Yes, I went there.
We got who we wanted to play. We wanted to play in the first round. Maybe not so much you, Robert, but
it's past now. This is who we have. Let's get into it. I'm excited. I'm selling myself. I think we're going to advance.
I think so too.
What do you guys think?
I think Kings in 6.
I think Kings in 6 too.
Kings in 6 or 7 sounds good to me.
Yeah, Yes, they are a very fast, very skilled team. I'm not going to take that away from them, but I just don't think
the playoffs. A lot of stuff we can get away with a little bit more hooking and holding,
it's
and
not as ticky-tack
wearing
and stuff,
them down, and they're not going to play Reeves in the playoffs.
No,
unless they're
I don't know where I read it at, but it kind of made a little bit of sense to me. The way the Kings should play game 1, you got to think that there's a lot of hype around this for Vegas. It's their inaugural season. They've done so well, so people, so that's going to play into it. And I think they're going to come out tomorrow, maybe trying to hit the Kings a lot to try and get them off of the Kings off of their game. But I just don't think it's going to play well for them if they try to play that game against us.
Well, I know Dustin Brown said he wants to go out there and take it slow and get some whistles and get the crowd out of it and play our game. And
yep.
That works for me.
Hey, Mike Babcock says start on time. You
Yeah.
got to start on time. You can't
No.
get down a goal or two early in that building.
No,
So,
absolutely not. We
got
what was that? The first time we faced them this season, we got shelled by them.
Yeah, I
Well,
want to say we
was
spotted 3 real quick, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, 3 real quick. The final score though ended up being 4-2. I mean, they got the empty netter, so we came after those 3.
Yeah.
They came back.
But that's just an example of what we can't do this time. We
No,
can't play them like
absolutely
that.
No,
absolutely not.
Teams that start slow end up out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I didn't.
Except for like the 2014
except for
Kings.
the 2014
Yeah, that's right.
or the 2015 Blackhawks. I mean,
That's
they got-
true. But the thing that I was like thinking about when I was thinking about this series is, the way that they played against Colorado. I didn't necessarily see the game, but I saw the game day thread, and I saw I watched the recap of it and stuff, and just not the greatest. A lot of bad defending and stuff. So you got to really hope that they
Dallas
are going.
game.
The
Dallas
Dallas game,
game.
yeah,
Yeah.
my bad.
Oh,
Dallas.
game 82. Yeah, Dallas.
So,
I'm like,
sorry, Dallas.
Colorado.
Yeah, sorry. The way that they played in that game, giving up like the hat trick to Jamie Benn, which was a natural hat trick this time. Was it?
Yeah.
How many
Yeah, it was.
hat tricks did Ben have this week? Because he got that one against the Sharks.
Yeah.
It was his 4th of his career, so
Okay, so
yeah.
maybe
2 this
maybe
week,
yeah,
probably.
2 this week. All right, but still, that's
Playing the averages.
But if we continue that play into the playoffs, we're just going to get we're just going to get shelled by Vegas again.
I think there was really just a lot of distraction there, and 2 of the goals came off bad turnovers from Folan and Fantenberg, who might be in. They both, at least Folan's going to be playing. you know?
Absolutely.
But I think it was just one of those games where everything kind of
it just
You
kind
just
of
don't care.
went against us. I mean, the typical, it seems that it's just when we play the Stars, something always like, it's just that team in particular. I don't want to know what it is that brings out the worst in us, but it seems like every year there's like one game where it's like a fluky sequence. Oh well, but Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at Vegas, I mean, we've all seen them a couple times. I've been looking up a lot of stats today, trying to see what maybe I didn't see in the couple times we played. They spread their minutes out a lot more than we do. Nate Schmidt's their leading average time on ice, and he's coming in only at 22 minutes a game, roughly. So they go top to bottom. They less matchup oriented.
Who's their their third is Colin Miller. Usually he's on their third pair, right?
I believe so.
It's Colin Miller and
In practice today, they had Miller and Merrill together.
John Merrill.
But they
From the
had
Devils.
the injury to Spiza kind of shook their pairings up a little bit, so we'll see how they kind of come out. I think maybe
Former Duck great.
the
Lucas
Schmidt-McNabb pairing happened after the injury, and apparently they've been playing well together, so we might see that tomorrow.
I mean,
Are the Kings-
I wonder if McNabb's like really licking his chops
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
like.
Especially
I
coming
would.
into.
But then again, on the other side of the coin, if he's their top on their top pairing going against like Kopitar, Brown, and Iafallo, that could be kind of fun for us.
Yeah.
Plus, we know the hit he's going to try and make.
Yeah.
We've seen it. Tell your right wingers, be careful. And
Yeah. So, what are their before we get into like maybe like their lines? Why don't we talk a little bit about the Kings lines that they're rolling today? Iafallo back on the top line with Kopitar and Brown. That's big.
Yeah,
I like that line. That's a good line.
It is. I mean, Iafallo has been really.
Yeah, you could kind of notice that, that he hasn't been playing because a lot of times it's just, there's been like in the middle of the game, the Kings are just kind of going through the motions and not making their own breaks. And Iafallo, he'd be that guy that would notice that and then try and do something himself. Not necessarily with a goal or something, but he'd just get in there. He'd get the forecheck started, and good things would tend to happen. So it's nice to see him back in the lineup, and then you got.
And you see, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I did. Like Kopitar doesn't really have it going whenever like Pearson's on the top line with them or Clifford.
Yeah, this stretch it didn't. What were Kopitar's points while Iafallo was out? I don't know off the top of my head, but I don't think they were that great.
I don't think it's a lot.
His scoring dried up these last 3, 4, 5
He had
games.
the one assist to Brown in overtime against
Yeah.
Minnesota off the top of my head, but
That's the only thing I can think of too.
I do like
He got
the
a couple of assists, but that's it.
the way him being able to fill that first line role balances the rest of them out. You
Yeah.
know, you have Reeder, Carter, Toffoli in practice today.
And then Pearson, Kempe, and Lewis.
Lewis is
Lou
back.
Dog. Congratulations to him.
That's a speed line. That's a playoff third line.
No, it is.
If Kempe can win some faceoffs.
If he can.
Hey,
yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed this as well. I got to give credit where credit's due. He's actually been doing a little bit better in the faceoff dot from the eye test. I don't have like the rough numbers on me, but like the raw data. But from the eye test, the past couple of games, I've seen him win some big draws. I think it was against a couple draws against the Ducks and stuff. He's definitely. I think they, especially matching up against like Vegas. I think that Kempe will be able to maybe chip in a little bit more, but especially with Pearson and Lewis on the line.
So I think I read that he's been goalless in 29, and if we're gonna have playoff success,
he's got to get.
He doesn't need to score like he was when Carter was out, but I mean he can't go goalless in the playoffs.
He needs to chip in at least one or two. Has to.
Yeah, that's true.
And then we have a true fourth line today in practice.
Yeah.
Clifford, Thompson, Mitchell. And I like it. I mean,
so do I.
They're going to grind. They're going to hit. They're experienced for whatever that's worth. Amadio.
Oh, not the Amadio, Brazinski, and Andreeff line? That had that one stretch where
it's waiting on the road, too. It was on the road.
Actually, these last couple games, Amadio has been gaining a little bit more of my trust, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him play in these playoffs.
Although, for what it's worth, our third line center, Jared Stoll in 2014, you know how many points he got?
24 in the 20s, probably. Regular season? Or playoffs?
10?
Playoffs.
Oh, playoffs?
5. I don't know.
6, 3 goals, 3 assists. So, if,
we need
maybe if they're timely from Kempe, but.
We need him to chip in a little bit, is what we're saying, Dan.
Yeah. So
definitely agree with that.
Just had to do that.
Go to the pairings on defense.
Yeah.
There's a big hole that on that first pair on the left side. They've tried out Gravel. Kind of seems like they don't like him. They've got Fanberg in there. He had that really bad turnover.
Brickley got in the game.
Brickley's played, but he can't play in the playoffs.
He can't play in the playoffs. So it's like,
who do you think should be next to Doughty, and are you comfortable with him?
I think of the healthy players. I mean, I think in a vacuum it's Gravel, but maybe because Vegas is a faster team. Maybe Fantenberg has a little bit better speed than Gravel. I don't even like that's. I mean, maybe I'm trying to think of that thought process by coaching. Like,
I guess they've kind of just fallen off Gravel. Like, I think he's just not Steven's guy. Fantenberg's he's a little too standoffish, and he's not.
So kind of like in Toronto with Babcock, Robida Island. It's Gravel Island.
Fantenberg, I just don't think he's ready to come in after 3 months in the minors and play game one, super meaningful playoff game, 20 minutes. Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because Gravel, he's still been here practicing with the team.
I don't really get it.
It's
honestly, I prefer Gravel with Doubting. The reason being is with Gravel, you get more of he's a better defender than Vandenberg is.
Definitely,
right? He's a better defender, and he skates decently. But I think with Doubting, although he is a great defender, he can't hold off, their top guys, top two guys, like two guys on him. You know what I mean? He can't cover up for Fantenberg very well. So, I don't know. I'd play Gravel because Gravel's big. He can...
At least we can all agree it should not be Phaneuf.
I can agree with that.
Oh, absolutely not.
No. But that's why, I like that third pair, Phaneuf and Ledoux.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
That Stevens can shelter their minutes and give them some more ozone starts. And
you have a good balance of skill sets. Same with the second pair with Martinez and Folan. You have Folan's going to hit, and he doesn't have much ambition going forward, and he can kind of cover Martinez, be a little more offensive minded. You got the lefty
Martinez is on the left side now, so he can get those pucks out quicker as opposed to when he's on the left, right side. Yeah.
I mean, if you get Muzzin back, slotting in on that first pair, the pairs start looking really nice.
Then they look really good, yeah. And then our special teams too, because then you got to figure right now it's going to be Doughty and Martinez on the first kill, and then the second one it's looking
because Phaneuf, until these last spate of injuries, he wasn't on the PK. So is he going to step in now? Is it going to be Folan,
Phaneuf?
If it's Fantenberg, then Phaneuf's killing penalties. Because it's not going to be Ledoux and it's not going to be Fantenberg.
No, so.
No, I don't think they put two righties out there again.
But
I can't remember what game that was. Where
speaking of penalties, how many power play goals has Vegas scored on the Kings this year?
Oh, really?
Yep.
Big Fat Zero?
Yeah, Patrick O'Sullivan pointed that out today on NHL Radio that Vegas didn't score a power play goal against us. So we got that. I mean, penalty kill is good, and so if we can get to that, and we get, that kind of gets in your head, and it's like what was that one year? It was like 2013 when we started out 0 for 20 something on the power play that year, and it was just like really, it's like really, oh man, then we finally got that one against Vancouver, and
I definitely agree though. The Phaneuf and Ledoux, I can get behind that.
Yeah, for sure.
So then
you still, but at least we got a power play. We could still put.
Looks like Phaneuf will be on the top power play.
Doughty and Phaneuf there with that, and then Martinez and
Ledoux.
I'd put
That's
Ledoux.
not bad.
Yeah, exactly. So, I like that. I like our chances.
So do I.
Vegas, no pun intended, has the Kings at slight underdogs at plus 110. So that means if you were to risk 100 on the Kings, you would get $110 back. Oh. Or if you're high rollers like us, $10 to win $11.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dude.
And that's good value, I think. It's just basically they're saying it's a coin flip. And for the home ice.
One thing I wanted to touch on, I know. I mean, this is more of like we don't really have a structure to this, so we'll kind of go through members submitted questions. Steven
Ferraccioli.
He asked, and I think this is a great question. Which quick from the cup winning teams do we need? Do we need 2012 quick, 2014 quick, or do we need the quick that we have now?
I would settle for 2013 quick over. But I don't think anybody can repeat 2012 quick what he did. But I don't know. Quick this year, even the last two games aside, when he allowed 8 goals, like he still finished with his second highest career save percentage. Yeah. Like he still had a really, really strong year.
He won the Jennings.
And winning the Jennings. But I mean, it's just more. I think. I mean, I don't think he'll be nominated now for Vezina. I think the last 2 games he kind of played himself out of it. But if he had good games, I think he would have earned a nomination with what he was going into those games. He was third among goalies with 50+ starts in both GAA and save percentage.
Should have been Campbell that last game. We could have saved him.
It should have been. I mean, Campbell versus old team, like. What?
Well, I think you look at Quick and you look at our goals against numbers, and you're like, how do they do it? They've turned more offensive minded, but we still led the league in goals against. And it's because even though we let up more chances, Quick had a much better year. If we have this regular season Quick, the by and large guy that we saw most of the year,
we go to the conference final.
Absolutely.
He's what we need. We need the Quick that we've had this season.
And if we have 2012 Quick, sure, we go all the way. But
I'll take it.
Right?
So, where do we...
Oh, you're not going to touch on Katie's question? What side do you dress on?
I was thinking about it, but once again, I don't understand what that means. Care to let us know, Wally? That's not appropriate for there.
Let's just say I hang to the left.
I hang in the middle.
There you go. Right down
Broadway.
I'll hang on the right then, just to even it out.
All right. Sounds good.
I forgot what I was going to ask now. I forgot where I was going to go.
Were there more? Was that the only question, remember?
And then what's the name of the podcast?
Okay.
Well, before we leave Vegas, I have some good experience numbers I want to get into.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
So people are bringing up Vegas as a new team, which is true. These guys haven't played in the playoffs together. But to paint them as a team without playoff experience is kind of wrong. They have more players that have played in playoff games than the Kings. They have 18 guys. Kings only have 16. Now, where you see the difference is total games and total rings. Vegas' 18 guys have added up to 480 playoff games. So they've been there. That's an average of 20... pretty much 27 per playoff experienced player, which is good. Yeah. Kings have 928 games. So our 16 guys are averaging 58. Carter leads the way with 116, which I didn't know. He's played more than our cup winners because he had more experience in Philly. Yeah. For Vegas, it's Fleury predictably with 115. I don't want to stake my whole reputation on it, but I think he's the only guy with rings on their team. 3 of them. We have what look to be 19 rings spread across 11 players. But I think we'll end up debuting more guys in the playoffs than they will. I mean, list of guys who haven't played in a playoff game for the Kings. Some major names on here. You got Kempe, Iafallo, Forbert, Fantenberg, Amadio. Reeder's never been there. Brodzinski, Ledoux, Gravel, and Campbell. A high percentage of those guys are going to get into games, you know?
Yeah.
There's some contributors there, too, you know? It's just an interesting thing to look at.
Yeah. No, that's... I mean, the experience-wise, no, you're absolutely right. You know, I was kind of one of those Kings fans that, they don't have any experience. But
the Kings, we have the edge, I'd say, but it's not a huge gulf.
Right.
I know they haven't been there together, which is worth something, but half of this team hasn't been either.
It's true. That is very true.
I just realized Colin Miller has a ring. 2015, the Calder Cup championship.
So let's go into...
No pity laughs, all right. No, we're good.
I give a very moderate pity laugh.
So not only are the Kings taking on the Golden Knights tomorrow, the Wild are taking on the Jets.
Yep, and...
Benny and the Jets.
Benny!
What goes over my head?
I think it's so dumb that's games on at 4 as well as Pittsburgh and Philly, which is also on at 4. Really? Like 6 p.m. local time in Winnipeg, like not the usual 7 o'clock or even 7:30 would be ideal. But
we're trying to spread it out so everyone can watch every game. I guess no,
because they're both on at the same time. So it's
you could at least start them maybe like at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Would it end up fine?
I would have. Yeah, it would have been 4, 5:30, and 7. That's the ideal if you're only gonna have 3 games.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think the Jets have it pretty easy. I already thought they were going to cakewalk through this one, but without Suter, it's... They say you have to play the games,
unless Dubnyk turns back the clock to 2015 Dubnyk when he had that insane run, and he should have been... I mean, obviously, Carey Price, being what he had, won the Hart, and so obviously they're going to get the Vezina, but oh man, that he was... I in my opinion, he was the most valuable to his team that year. They don't do anything without him, but... Okay, so yes, and then let's see who else has it.
Spurgeon's out.
Spurgeon might come back.
Oh.
He's actually skating and he's close to returning, as per some people on NHL radio. So he might be good, but the Jets and Nashville are really the only series in the playoffs that I can say with ease that they will advance.
Yeah,
I think I'll just kind of that's my segue into my predictions. I think. The West, I have Nashville, Winnipeg. I have LA advancing, and I also have San Jose. I think just the Ducks with that Fowler, that's huge. And
that's an interesting series, though. I mean, that one's one of the closer ones. I mean, Nashville 100% is advancing. They might sweep. It's not going to be close.
Yeah, especially, it's no Varlamov and no Eric Johnson. It's you're going to have to play Tyson Barrie up on top. That's
it was a great story to turn around from worst record ever and make the playoffs, but. Would you have been better off than your hat in the lottery?
Yeah, right.
Just make it next year.
Yeah, no. Nashville definitely has. I don't want to say it's easy because anything can happen in the playoffs, but I definitely see them advancing. Same thing with Winnipeg. That second round matchup.
Oh, and I forgot. I continued to support Evander Kane. Man, game changer. I think that's another reason why. And no Fowler with the Ducks. I think it's just kind of that's why.
I think the most exciting and best matchup of the Western Conference by far is Winnipeg and Nashville. It's too bad that's a second round matchup.
Yeah. I hate the way the playoffs are formatted. It just doesn't. I was reading some of the stats on how somehow Toronto and Boston are facing each other when they just do not deserve to.
Going into, I know Washington won the Metro, but. Didn't Toronto finish with more points? So you have the top 3 all in one division? Or if not that, then they're really close point-wise? We'll look that up for you right now as we speak. But, it just goes to show you that this divisional matchups, it's just, unfair. You got to go back to... I think when Seattle comes in as an expansion team, then you got to go back to, either... 1 versus 8 for sure, but yeah. I think, in my opinion, that it should go... Like football, 4 divisions of 4 teams, and that way, plus, it'll appease the Canadian markets first, 2 because you'd probably get 1 Canadian team in the playoffs.
Toronto and Washington tied for points to be 3-4 overall.
So, exactly, and they're, they have to play Boston, who had 112,
And that's just unfair. It's not a first round matchup. You know, you have you're either 2-3 or 2-4 is your first round. It doesn't make any sense.
The Philadelphia.
Also, I was going to say, yeah, that's our little cue to go to the East now. I mean, I think that I still don't know. My bracket is still, Grubauer's starting. That's confirmed game 1 for, Washington.
Yeah.
But even then, everybody talks about how Bobrovsky has a terrible playoff record. He's 3-10. His save percentage is about 888 or 887, something like that. But I mean, if he can come, this is a 2-time Vezina winner, and if he can come to form, and with that D, I mean, Seth Jones and Werenski, and you got the second pair, the shutdown of Savard, and basically, Nudavara just basically took Jack Johnson's spot there.
Yeah.
And then, you have a guy like Ian Cole on your third pair. Sometimes he leads the league in minutes. He leads the team in minutes a night.
Yeah.
That's
going to be an interesting matchup, though.
That's the one
really
I couldn't
good
pick.
Defenseman.
No,
I picked Washington just because I don't know where the
picked them
scoring
because
is. Where's the scoring for Columbus?
I picked Washington because they are going with Grubauer. If they would have gone with Holtby, I think I would have picked Columbus.
Washington's an excellent special teams team. Columbus doesn't take a lot of penalties. That one could really go either way.
It can. I mean, it's I'm going to say Washington is 7 because it's a cop out. But and speaking of special teams, the next series, the Penguins and Flyers. Penguins were undefeated against the Flyers this year, and the Flyers had, I believe, the 3rd worst penalty kill in the league, and Penguins were in the top 5.
You better
and
be with
you got
those
to,
guys.
you got to be disciplined. I mean, you can't. Hackstall has to just say to Ratko Gudas, I mean, dude, just chill. And I think they have a shot too. I mean, what was it, 2012 when they came? They.
You think Philly has a shot?
I think so.
I'm not giving it much of a shot.
No, because I don't think they have the goaltending, man.
The goaltending's not there. They can't kill penalties.
Oh, that's right. You guys are not. I have to go back my guy Brian Elliott because I wanted him. So,
but
I think if Elliott, can come coach that. I'm cracking open a beer, by the way. So, and I will crack one open for Robert too.
You look at Pittsburgh centers. Who's got that? Who's matching up with Brassard on the third line?
Only team I can think
what
of
are
is
we doing?
Nashville.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Anaheim. They're not bad at center, but
No.
Philly doesn't have enough for me.
No,
What do you
me
think,
either.
Zach?
Well,
I don't think Philadelphia is getting past
I mean,
Pittsburgh.
Valtteri Filppula is
Absolutely
not
not.
chopped liver. I mean, he
No,
won a
he's not.
championship with Detroit. He's their third line center. Nolan Patrick down the stretch, he's been really hot for him, and obviously the top line, Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek, but they can spread it out. I think look at
Giroux back at,
that defense.
Don't forget
too.
you have Jordan Wheel.
Jordan Wheel,
King's great.
King great, but
But
I love Provorov too, and he and Gostisbehere, even though it is two lefties, they've been I think they'll get their minutes no problem, but it's more the Philly depth, Andrew McDonald and Gudas.
But talking about great down the stretch, I mean that describes the Penguins. That's
I love
what they were.
Provolone too, though, dude. I mean,
Provolone. Is that what you said?
no, I 100% agree. I just don't think they have the depth.
I purposely left off Robert's boy Konechny on there.
That's a
I know he
game
picked
changer.
it up.
Game changer. Right? I definitely don't see Philadelphia getting past that. An interesting matchup, though. I mean, I
think
may
they
be putting too much into this dude, but the Devils and the Bolts.
Ooh.
The Bolts haven't beat New Jersey in regular
At all this year.
At all this year.
Devils are 3-0, but I don't know. I that's another one where I think Tampa in 7 as a cop out. But if you would have told me New Jersey wins, I could buy it. I mean they've rallied. Keith Kincaid was 9-1-1 down the stretch when they needed him.
Here's the Bolts are going to take it 5 or 6 games. Here's why: the Hall line is so good. It's so good, and I put him in the Hart conversation that Kopitar still wins. But what happens is you have the Stamkos line or one of these lines, you wash it with Hall, and then where do the Devils go from there?
You got
The Bolts are rolling
Nico
3.
Hischier.
That's true.
And Pavel Zacha. I mean,
Zacha's got like 20 points. Or you're saying Zajac?
No. I said Zacha on purpose because you're welcome, Katie. When I said to take take him in fantasy because he's going to be there.
There's no way they can keep up with just the waves of attack that Tampa Bay is going to send. They're going to cause some problems.
They're going to need a lot of defense from Brian Boyle. But, no, you're right. I think it ultimately will come down to...
I'm thinking 5 or 6.
Come down to defense. I think I'll still say 7. It's going to be...
Tampa did kind of mess up their chemistry closer. After the trade deadline, though. I was
just about to bring that up after I swallowed my water.
Take it.
No, it's one of those...
in a vacuum, it was an upgrade, but...
Yeah, it's great, but... I mean, it's one of those moves where it's like, if I make this can work out really well. But if I make this, there's also the possibility that it doesn't work out at all. And you see that. I mean, you bring in guys, especially like Ryan McDonough. He's, he was a leader in New York. He was a leader. Now he's coming into a room that has completely different leaders, and I'm sure he's vocal and stuff like that. I mean,
he's also in a room with all those other former Rangers leaders like Callahan, former captain, Girardi wore an A, and McDonough. And then
if Tampa has one concern, it's Vasilevsky's game has fallen off, but I think he'll get it back. Yeah. I don't know.
They may have played too much.
They could.
The Devils have one of those things where if everything goes right, they could win. But
everything went right the whole season, though.
Not anymore.
Okay, well,
they drew Tampa in the first round.
They can ride Kincaid. Too bad he's not playing the Kings first round because then that would be a sweep.
That would be it.
No goals scored.
No goals scored.
I don't know though. I mean, you kind of have to think that maybe Tampa may have done to Vasilevsky what Washington's done to Holtby countless times. Just played him too much in the regular season. I mean, they didn't really have a reliable backup this season. They had Budai and then
Budai was hurt. Yeah.
Right,
and then I don't think he was that great when he was in.
No. That's
it'll be closer than you guys think. I'm back in. It's funny because they were on the radio. Who was it? Taylor Hall was on, and I believe it was Scott Laughlin or Patrick O'Sullivan. They were asking Hall about when did you guys believe? And before he said anything, I immediately thought to that. The preseason game, I believe that Kraft Hockeyville game, when the Devils just blew out the Senators 7-1. I actually watched that game. I'm like, man, this team is going to be good this year. And I've told you guys that. I said don't sleep, don't count out the Devils, don't sleep on them because they're going to be fast. And then
the future definitely looks bright for them. I have to agree with that. The future definitely looks bright,
especially getting Butcher and. It's funny because when I said I wanted to trade Muzzin for Henrique, and sure enough, Henrique goes to the Ducks, and now they have some depth down center, and he would have been great, with Carter being out this whole year. But
I totally agree with that.
So we'll see. It'll be close. Anyway, last series, Boston Toronto.
I'm really interested in seeing this, just because it's a original six matchup, man.
It's a series of the first round. I mean, like we said, these teams don't deserve. One of them doesn't deserve to go out in the first round.
No.
I think Boston has just so much depth in all three areas.
If they're healthy. Because
they've been plugging people and they've been working. I mean, they called Donato. He's turning it up. They have how many defensemen do they have? I mean,
I gotta air a grievance on that. Yahoo, come on, man, get it together. I tried to pick up Donato before his debut in the championship round. It wouldn't have mattered. Congrats, Matt. You beat me by almost 100. But still, it's like you gotta when there's news about that someone's gonna come out and play, you gotta
make them available
right away, right?
I think Boston just kind of mixes the new speedy NHL with that age-old trope of the playoffs being physical, and I don't like that I like what they have, but I do. I'd hate Boston sports, but...
Yeah. Oh. But the Bruins are like the least hateable team of
They're all pretty bad.
Like, I'd rather see the Bruins...
Brad Marchand, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but clear,
I want to...
No, it doesn't.
It's hard for
nothing
me to
will be
watch.
worse. Bruins can win 10 straight. Patriots can win 10 straight. If the Celtics don't win anything again ever, I'm...
No.
It's all good.
I can't agree with that.
I disagree as well.
What? The Laker fan disagrees with me?
It's hard for me to watch Brad Marchand, dude. It's just hard for me to watch that without wanting to reach through the TV and like.
Every time, like, I want to like him, he does something stupid and gets a suspension.
And he makes like a great play, and you're like, oh my god, that's sick. And then the very next game is cross-checking someone in the face.
After the All-Star game, he was like fun and good-natured, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give him a chance. And then I forget who it was. He's done 3 or 4 this season. It's just.
He elbowed Johansson like straight in the jaw, gave him a concussion. Last week he cross-checked someone in the face. Who was it?
He didn't even get suspended for it.
Got a fine.
I can't remember who it is, but that's every other week he's doing something bad.
Yeah, just doing something stupid. I don't understand it. Don't understand the thought process.
But I think
He's
Boston.
I mean, the winner of that series could win the cup. That could be a.
I could totally see Toronto winning. I mean, Nylander, like, he caught fire. Like, Marner. I mean, Matthews. Can you imagine if Babcock actually played Matthews on the power play? Is he, like, he doesn't even. He's on the second unit right now, but it's just like, you put your best player on the power play? Like, maybe he's saving it. Maybe this is the secret weapon.
I don't know. It's hard for me to tell that series, too, but who do you guys think are in the Cup final?
I'm going with Nashville, Boston.
Yeah.
I know I could lose my East in the first round. I feel really confident with Nashville. I mean, you look at the center depth, who matches them? Maybe Anaheim, maybe Pittsburgh. You look at defensive depth, nobody matches them. As long as their goaltending holds up.
Hey, we do. If we have 3 righty, 3 lefty. No. We do not.
Who said it?
The Boston's just so hot. I think they take Nashville in the finals 6 or 7 games. Good series.
You think Boston takes the cup this year?
Yeah, I do. Wow. I hate it, but
I also had. I mean, this could change. This could change between 3:59 Eastern tomorrow, West Pacific. Sorry. I also have. I have Nashville over Boston, but again, it's all about. It's all about luck of the draw. Let's say, just devil's advocate, my alternate bracket. Let's say Philly goes ahead and beats Pittsburgh. Then Washington goes, they'll play Philly, they'll win. And then Washington versus Boston. Boston hasn't beaten Washington in like 2 years. Or 3 years.
Wouldn't the second round be Boston versus the winner of New Jersey and Bolts?
Conference final. Did I say? That's why I said Washington, Philly, because Washington would beat Philly.
This Washington team is not as strong as they've been in years past.
Hey, this is why I said it's an alternate universe bracket.
The results do not belie the way they played. They haven't played that well.
You got to think about it, man. Like the second round of the Western Conference is between Nashville and Winnipeg, and then
that's unfortunate because
I could Eastern Conference I could the Bolts
see
and the Bruins.
Yeah, that's really
the winner of those 2 series is going to go on to play in the Cup.
That's what 100%, I think.
100%.
And I like the Jets, and it wouldn't surprise me if they beat Nashville at all. I think they're really deep.
Hellebuyck was a great.
Hellebuyck hasn't been there, so we'll see. I'm not the biggest on experience, but he is young.
If their defense is finally healthy. They got Bufflin, they got Trouba, they got Myers.
Those forwards are really solid, and like you said, the Stasny pickup has been.
They're not even playing Nick Patan.
It's a travesty.
Kyle Connor's had a breakout season.
30 goals.
Yeah.
You can't say anybody from that draft. I just get sad.
Talking about playoffs and the Kings.
What draft is that, by the way? I know.
So many players.
Well, you know what? Let's speaking of playoff teams in that draft. Minnesota, how about their top 2? Joel Eriksson-Ek and then Jordan Greenway in the first and second round. I know. 2015, it's so sad.
Speaking of prospects and Kings playoffs, Kings still do have some prospects down in the OHL playoffs. I don't know if you guys have caught wind of it yet, but the Spokane Chiefs are out. So Jad's up with Jared Anderson-Dolan's up with Ontario on the ATO.
If you can catch a game, give us a scouting report.
I think, exactly.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that the Kings also play on Friday because we were going to do a little scouting trip, but not when there's a Kings playoff game on.
No, seriously, if any of you guys are listening, hit us up with a scouting report if you see him.
I know Steven goes to the games down there, and
Matt Rodriguez does, I believe, Mark Case too.
Yeah.
Oh, Gerald Trudeau.
Yeah.
Jerry.
So, yeah, I mean, if you guys are listening and you guys
Jerry, I got to say, too far, buddy. Too far. It's an inside joke.
Gabe Velarde tonight took the scoring lead in the OHL playoffs.
Yeah, he got 2 goals tonight, so that's 9 goals, 9 assists in 9 playoff games now.
I wonder if the other teams are Sandbagger. He shouldn't be in this league, kick him out. Are they checking his ID? What is going on?
He's really 35 years old.
He's too good.
It's actually Ilya Kovalchuk.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, Ilya. He's supposedly signing with the Rangers. A 2 or 3 year deal, about $5 to $6 million AAV.
It's a logical rebuild.
Yeah.
Hey, what did I say? I said this could be a one-off, and then they have a ton of prospects and picks, and they could just flip them and immediately be a contender next year.
Lucas Zibanejad can be the number 1 center for him. He can be. If he stays
I
healthy.
think he is. Yeah, if he stays healthy. Well, losing Kreider to them hurt a lot. Like when Kreider came back, look at that. And a lot of it. Alan Vigneault didn't put Buchnevich on the top line, and when he
his
did,
usage was horrible.
Yep.
And when he did, the Kreider, Zibanejad, Buchnevich line, I mean that did some damage. And then their second line, Nemesnikov, Spooner, and Hayes,
Nemesnikov really cooled off over there. I think he ended up with 4 points.
Yeah,
and 2 or 3 of them were that first game.
Yes, but Spooner took off.
Yeah, the skill is
after
there.
the skill. But I'm just, so I think they have some tradable assets. They have 3 first-round picks this year. I think this could be a quick...
Go for Carlson.
A one-off.
You heard Lundqvist say it. Next year, it's about the wins again.
I talked to my Rangers correspondent, Joey McDonald. I invited him to the group. Welcome aboard. And, we talk pretty much almost every day about going back and forth about trade scenarios with Ottawa. And because... it actually just came out today that Pierre Dorian said he's not going to trade Erik Karlsson before the draft, which kind of makes sense from his perspective because they already, the pick for the Duchesne trade was conditional. So if they have a top 10, they don't have to give it this year. So, they're not. And then, from the other side of the coin, if you're going to trade for somebody, do it after July 1st so you can negotiate an extension right away without tampering. So it's a situation that we're monitoring. And but you know what? If Karlsson were to end up in New York, it would not surprise me. Tangent over. All right. Do we have anything else to add? I don't really.
Oh no, I don't think so. Other than the Kings in the playoffs, though, are the Kings prospects in the playoffs though. Jake Grimshaw's kind of taken over a little, not taken over, but he's having a decent playoffs with them. I just think it's interesting that Jad's up in Ontario. I like that. They
grabbed a few other guys. I wish I could go see. Strand is there. He's going to be there next year because this was his overage year. Yeah. They signed him to that 3-year ELC. You have Isamont from St. Cloud. That's our farm school, right?
Yeah.
He could follow in the steps of other St. Cloud Huskies like Kevin Gravel and Nick Dowd, and maybe he jumps into the bottom 6 center conversation in a year or two.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Congrats to Mikey Anderson and the Bulldogs. They won the
Bulldogs finally get one after three losses. Because, think about it, Georgia Bulldogs and Gonzaga Bulldogs and last year Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs all got to the championship game and lost. So
I know when we have those college prospects, I hope they're good but not too good to where they stick around and want to spurn us and go be a free agent. Still a long way in the future. He's got 3 more years. But
Cal Clegg hasn't necessarily been lighting it up since he went to Moose Jaw. He's gotten a bunch of assists, but in the playoffs though he's a -6. I don't know. I just really haven't been entirely impressed by him.
Is Moose Jaw still alive?
I believe so. Okay.
I don't know. That WHL website is really spotty.
Oh no, I'm pulling off something else. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Cal Clegg's looking over his shoulder at Brickley.
No.
Clegg was the anointed top defensive prospect, and he was probably in Ontario next year, maybe a cup of coffee with the Kings and shooting for the next squad, and now kind of a big roadblock.
Yeah. Daniel Brickley does look solid.
And he's big.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He looks solid. I mean,
there's so many lefty defensemen. We can't all keep all of them. Like, there's going to be some major changes in the offseason. But
I was actually, I believe they brought up on that other hockey page. What is that? NHL Fans United.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody was talking about
Hockey Fans United.
Yeah, Hockey Fans United. Yeah. Somebody brought up that Jordan Subban trade. I mean, that might end up paying off well for us. I think you were talking about it with someone.
Even if. I touched on it. Even if Subban doesn't play for the Kings at all, like I still think it's like we did need some depth in Ontario. With Ledoux coming here, we needed another right shot, and it's just I think he's a placeholder with our actual drafting and defense that we developed ourselves. I think ultimately they'll get priority over Subban, but
Still, it'd be interesting to see this offseason what happens with the blue line. Not the top end, we know what it is, but a lot of those depth guys are RFAs, and Gravel's going to be a UFA. You have Ledoux, RFA, McDermott. Do they bring him back? Do they bring Fantenberg back? Subban, Niemi. All these guys, there's a lot of bodies coming into Ontario, and there's only so many spots. We might move on from kind of that whole generation of Mersch, Auger, Crescenzi,
even Gravel, maybe.
Gravel, kind of, if he doesn't get this game, I kind of think he's on the way out,
Yeah. It's unfortunate, though. I mean, it's weird because, granted, we're not GMs or coaches and stuff like that, but, I think I've seen enough good stuff.
Speak for yourself, moron!
Well, there was that time when he looked more developed than Forbert, and even you would hear Jim Fox during the broadcast saying it, and they kind of committed to Forbert, presumably because of where we drafted him. Yeah. Maybe it's paid off, maybe it hasn't, but I think that kind of sealed his fate.
It's unfortunate because he was really turning the corner.
Yeah.
But, we talk about these guys like they're prospects, and they're 26.
They're 26.
Most teams, these guys are 4 years in if they're going to make it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. So. Have to take that into consideration. So, game 1 tomorrow. Who are you taking? Kings or Vegas?
I'm copping out. I'm going to do my Wally pick right now. I'm going to take. It's going to be a parlay. So these two have to win. It's going to be Winnipeg Jets to win, and the Kings plus a goal and a half. So basically, if the Kings win or lose by 1 goal, I still win that bet. So I'm going to cop out and say Kings plus 1.5. I can't commit.
Kings tomorrow. Vegas is going to have too much emotion. It's a distraction.
That's damn.
All right.
Yeah, damn, dude. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think Kings take it tomorrow too. I think they
and tomorrow over 6 in the Flyers Penguins game. That's another pick.
I think the Kings let them try and hit them or try and play their game or whatever, where they want to hit us. They're gonna take stupid penalties, and we just let them play. Let them play
that, and we'll hopefully capitalize.
I think they will.
It'd be something, I have no idea what the answer is, interesting to look into teams' records in their first playoff game in franchise history. There's got to be so many other distractions going on, especially expansion team, new rivalry. Season, I think we're going to kind of just go in there and shut the building up. We'll probably lose game 2, but I think we're going to split these first 2, and that's what we need to do.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So go Kings, go tomorrow. Once again, we do want to send our love out to the Humboldt Broncos, also to the Zavala's family. We're thinking about you guys. So this is Zach.
This is Robert.
And this is Wally signing off.
And thanks again for listening, guys.
Thank you.